Hey man, I need you to stop for a second and really hear what I'm about to tell you, because this is something that's going to change how you see yourself forever. Most guys walk around thinking they're average, thinking they blend into the crowd. But what if I told you that's complete bullshit? What if you're actually better looking than you think, and you've been selling yourself short this entire time? Look, I get it. We live in a world where social media has screwed up our perception of what attractive looks like. We see these filtered, perfect faces everywhere and think that's the standard. But here's what most men don't realize. The bar is actually way lower than you think. And chances are you're already clearing it by a mile. Today I'm breaking down the 5 undeniable reasons why you look better than most men. And listen, this isn't some feel-good motivational crap. This is based on psychology, human behavior, and cold hard facts about what actually makes a man attractive. So buckle up, because by the end of this, you're going to see yourself in a completely different light. The first reason is simple. You actually take care of yourself, and most men don't. Let's start with something basic that most guys completely ignore. Hygiene and grooming. Now, I'm not talking about looking like some Instagram model. I'm talking about the basics. Shower regularly. Brush your teeth. Keep your nails clean. Wear clothes that actually fit you. Here's the shocking truth. The majority of men fail at this. They walk around with crusty fingernails, wrinkled clothes that are 2 sizes too big, and think that's normal. But if you're watching this video, if you're someone who cares enough to think about improving yourself, you're already doing better than probably 70% of guys out there. Women notice this stuff immediately. They see a guy who smells good, whose clothes fit properly, who looks like he gives a damn about himself, and that puts you in a completely different category. Think about the last time you were out in public. Really look around. How many guys do you see who look like they just rolled out of bed? Not many, right? And here's where it gets interesting. When you put in even minimal effort, when you wear a shirt that fits, when you keep your facial hair trimmed, when you smell good, you're not just looking better, you're signaling something deeper. You're showing that you respect yourself. And if you respect yourself, other people will too. The second reason might surprise you. Your confidence shows in ways you don't even realize. Confidence isn't just about how you feel. It's about how you carry yourself. And most men have no idea how powerful this is. You might think you're not the most confident guy in the room, but confidence shows up in subtle ways that make a massive difference. It's in the way you walk. Do you slouch and shuffle? Or do you walk with purpose? It's in how you make eye contact. Do you look away immediately? Or can you hold someone's gaze? It's in how you take up space. Do you shrink yourself? Or do you own your presence? Here's what's crazy. Most men are so insecure they can't even sit properly. They hunch over. They make themselves smaller. They avoid eye contact. And they wonder why nobody notices them. But if you're someone who stands tall, makes eye contact, and moves with intention, you're already more attractive than the majority of guys. And women? They pick up on this instantly. They can sense confidence from across the room. It's not about being the loudest guy or trying to prove something. It's about being comfortable in your own skin. And that's something that can't be faked. But here's where confidence really shows up. In conversation. Ever notice how some guys talk and everyone listens, while others get ignored? It's not about what they're saying. It's about how they say it. Confident men speak slower. They don't rush. They're not afraid of pauses. They don't fill every silence with nervous rambling. If you can have a conversation without constantly seeking approval, if you can disagree without getting defensive, if you can be comfortable with silence, you're already more attractive than most men. Because most guys are so desperate for validation. They turn every conversation into a performance. Here's the third reason. You have depth, and most men are surface level. This one's huge, and most guys don't even realize it. You know what makes a man truly attractive? It's not just looks. It's having something interesting to say, having passions, having a life that goes beyond just trying to impress people. Most men are boring. They have no hobbies, no interests, no goals beyond their next paycheck or their next weekend. They can't hold a conversation about anything meaningful. They don't read, they don't create, they don't build anything. And then they wonder why women find them forgettable. But if you're someone who has interests, who's passionate about something, who's building toward goals, who can talk about ideas, not just gossip and small talk, you're immediately more attractive than the majority of men out there. Women are attracted to men who have their own thing going on, who aren't just sitting around waiting for someone else to make their life interesting. They want a man who's on a mission, who's growing, who's becoming something more. And if that's you, if you're someone who's constantly improving yourself, you're already ahead of most guys. And here's the kicker. Depth shows up in how you listen. Most men don't actually listen. They're just waiting for their turn to talk. They're thinking about what they're going to say next instead of actually engaging with what's being said. But if you're someone who asks follow-up questions, who remembers details, who shows genuine interest in other people, you stand out immediately. Because here's the truth. People are starving for real connection, for someone who actually sees them. And if you can provide that, if you can be present and engaged, you're more attractive than guys who might be better looking but have the personality of a cardboard box. The fourth reason is crucial. You're not desperate, and desperation is the ultimate turnoff. This might be the most important point, because desperation kills attraction faster than anything else. And most men reek of it. They're so hungry for attention, for validation, for someone to like them, that they turn into these needy, clingy versions of themselves. But if you're comfortable being alone, if you have a life that doesn't revolve around getting approval from others, if you can take rejection without falling apart, you're immediately more attractive than guys who might look like models but act like lost puppies. Desperation shows up everywhere, in how quickly you text back, in how much you agree with everything someone says, in how you change yourself to fit what you think people want to see. And women can smell this from a mile away. They know when a guy is trying too hard, when he's putting on an act, when he's more interested in being liked than being real. But here's what's attractive. Self-sufficiency. Being okay with who you are. Not needing constant validation. Having your own opinions, even if they're unpopular. Being able to walk away if someone doesn't treat you right. This is what separates attractive men from desperate ones. Most guys are so afraid of being alone, so afraid of not being liked, that they'll accept any treatment. They'll bend over backwards for scraps of attention. But if you know your worth, if you have standards, if you're not afraid to be by yourself, you're automatically more attractive than most men. And women test for this. They want to see if you'll fold under pressure, if you'll change yourself to please them, if you'll chase them when they pull away. And if you don't, if you stay consistent and confident, you pass a test that most guys fail miserably. And here's the fifth and final reason. You understand that attraction isn't just about looks. This is the big one, and it's where most men completely miss the point. They think attraction is all about having the perfect face, the perfect body, the perfect everything. But that's not how it works, especially for men. Women are attracted to the total package. Yes, looks matter, but they're just one piece of the puzzle. What matters more is how you make them feel. And this is where most guys get it wrong. They focus so much on trying to look perfect that they forget about everything else. They don't work on their personality, their confidence, their ability to make someone laugh, their emotional intelligence, their ambition, their character. And then they wonder why they're not getting the results they want. But here's the truth about attraction. It's not about being perfect. It's about being magnetic. And magnetism comes from multiple sources. It's confidence, passion, authenticity, humor, intelligence, ambition, the ability to make someone feel special, the ability to create an emotional connection. If you understand this, if you work on becoming a well-rounded man instead of just focusing on your appearance, you're already more attractive than guys who might be conventionally better looking but have nothing else to offer. And here's what's really powerful. When you stop obsessing over your looks, when you stop comparing yourself to other guys, when you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you naturally become more attractive. Because you're not coming from a place of insecurity. You're coming from a place of strength. Look, man, I want you to understand something. Most men have no idea what they're actually working with. They're so focused on their flaws, so obsessed with what they think they're lacking, that they can't see their own value. But the truth is, if you're someone who takes care of yourself, who has confidence, who has depth, who isn't desperate, who understands that attraction is about more than just looks, you're already better looking than most men. And I don't mean that in some participation trophy, feel-good way. I mean that in a real, practical sense. You have qualities that most men don't have. You bring value that most men can't bring. And that makes you more attractive, regardless of what you see in the mirror. Here's what I want you to do starting today. I want you to own your value. Stop comparing yourself to other guys. Stop focusing on what you think you're lacking, and start appreciating what you bring to the table. Because chances are, you're selling yourself short. Work on your confidence, not by faking it, but by becoming someone worth being confident about. Develop your interests, your passions, your goals. Become someone who has something to offer beyond just your appearance. Maintain your standards. Don't settle for people who don't appreciate your value. And most importantly, understand that attraction is about energy. It's about presence. It's about making people feel good when they're around you. And if you can do that, if you can be the kind of man who adds value to other people's lives, you're going to be more attractive than guys who might look like they stepped out of a magazine but have the personality of a wet napkin. Because here's the final truth. Looks fade, but character lasts. Confidence lasts. The ability to make someone laugh lasts. The ability to be a good partner lasts. And if you focus on developing these qualities, if you become a man of substance, you'll not only look better than most men, you'll be better than most men. And that's when everything changes. That's when you stop chasing and start attracting. That's when you realize you've had the power all along, you just needed to see it. So stop selling yourself short. Stop thinking you're average. Stop believing that you need to be someone else to be attractive. You're already better looking than most men. You just need to start acting like it. Remember, this isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about becoming the best version of who you already are. And when you do that, when you own your value and stop apologizing for taking up space, the world responds differently. People respond differently. And you'll wonder why you ever doubted yourself in the first place. Trust me on this one. You're better looking than you think. You just need to start believing it.